So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
No justice, no justice, no justice. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We don't shine and we shake. Give me a papa God, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
It's Wednesday, January 14th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. And welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And for the next 3 hours, you can participate in the conversation. All you have to do is call me at 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Or you can go on our live stream at nationalactionnetwork.com. nationalactionnetwork.net, nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can express yourself. I see people already on the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net. I see at, is this Ayatanda Garrett? Ayatanda Garrett, I hope I'm saying it right, says, Rev, I will be at the convocation tomorrow at Lincoln University. I know it will be too busy to shake your hand, but I look forward to being in your presence. Love you, Rev. Well, try to tell them you are one of my radio friends and that you want to shake my hand. Let's see if we can work that out. People traveling with me, I'm going to tell them, look out for you. Demetrius Jones saying, good day, Reverend Al. Trump is alleging the civil rights movement of the 60s was bad for white people. Equality to him is oppressing the white people. And you're right about that, Demetrius. You know, there's been bigotry and bias throughout the history of this country, from slavery to segregation. But I've never heard anyone in the last half century say that the civil rights movement hurt white people but Donald Trump. We've never had such blatant and arrogant racism as we've had expressed out of the lips of this president. And one that lowers the bar. Not only has he turned the Oval Office into a gaudy looking, it looks like a gaudy hotel room in one of his hotels, gold filters and pictures framed everywhere. Yesterday, he was in Detroit, spoke at an auto place, and a guy heckled him, saying, what about the Epstein files, or something about he was covering up the Epstein files. And Donald Trump, President of the United States, leader of the free world, stuck his middle finger out on him on camera. I mean, what do you tell your children about don't cuss, don't use such foul language, and you got the president telling somebody with his finger the most profane thing you can do? This is the character that we have in the White House. But before you shake your head, just know that your cousin, your children, maybe even you that didn't vote is the reason he's there. We did not have to end up with Donald Trump. We did not have to end up with Donald Trump. Our own negligence and apathy and lack of the sense of the times put us in this horrific situation. I'm looking at how ICE agents in Minneapolis, it's bad enough they shot, one of them shot and killed an unarmed woman in a car named Good. And a week ago, and people have been marching all over the country. And I've been talking to the activists on the ground. That's not bad enough. Now they have brought in hundreds more ICE workers, ICE patrol people, and they're literally snatched one handicapped woman out the car to prove us you're not an illegal immigrant. Snatched the man, threw him to the ground. I mean, all of these videos. I was on Morning Joe this morning, 6 in the morning till first hour, and the videos that are being shown of how they're just grabbing people. It's like we're in an occupied country, and I guess we are. And Tanya's on it. I was getting ready to say this. Tanya Toval is saying now they're trying, she's on the message board, Now they're trying to say from the Trump administration that the ICE agent was injured in the shooting of Renee Nicole Good. He was injured. He shot her in the head twice, shot 3 times. If he was injured because he was shooting somebody. Now it gets a little thicky-wicky, that the federal prosecutors have resigned. 6 federal prosecutors resigned from the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, and 6 resigned in the Minnesota U.S. Attorney Department because they were trying, and maybe still doing it, whoever they replacing them with, to investigate the partner and friend of the deceased. They wanted to, and they're trying to establish that the partner was some member of a subversive group. And 6 of the U.S. Attorney people in Washington's Civil Rights Division was assigned to try and muddy her up rather than allow them to investigate whether or not Nicole Good's civil rights was violated. This only happens, I said this morning on TV, in a police state. You get killed and they investigate you. You get killed, unarmed, in a car, pulling to go the other way, and now they can investigate you and your friend. And if that's not enough to get us concerned and upset, then I don't know what is. First of all, I salute the 6 in both places, 12 altogether, that said, no, I'm not going to be part of that. And as Mayor Rodney Jones is saying on our message board, at least some in DOJ have integrity, and he capitalized integrity. It is beyond belief, but it's happening, so believe it. It's reality. Let me also say that I'm joining many others in mourning the passing of Claudette Colvin, civil rights pioneer. In 1955, she was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a segregated bus in Montgomery before Rosa Parks. And Colvin was just 15 years old at the time, just 9 months before Rosa Parks. And she became one of 4 plaintiffs in the landmark case that ended bus segregation in Montgomery. I wrote about her in the last book I wrote 3 years ago, Righteous Troublemakers. I wrote about Claudette Colvin. She passed, and may she rest in peace and power. She long overlooked, but Stephen Reed, the mayor of Montgomery, says that she is a foundation to America's path to justice. Also, we hear in House Republicans plan to hold Hillary Clinton in contempt for refusing to testify in the Epstein probe before Congress. She's saying that there was invalid, her and Bill Clinton, saying that they were invalid subpoenas and they would not appear. Now they're trying to hold them in contempt. They don't stop. A lot to talk about today. I'm opening up the phones. If you're not outraged enough to talk now, I don't know whatever will. You might be in one of these cities Trump is threatening to cut off funds to sanctuary cities and their states starting next month. Sanctuary cities, people that give sanctuary to people that need it from foreign lands. I grew up in New York. I kept, every year we'd go look at Statue of Liberty when I was in school, saying, bring me your tired, your huddled masses that yearn to be free. or if you did now, you are under suspicion by the federal government. Things are not what it used to be, but if we remember how it got to be that way before, we can do it again because we had to fight, and we got to continue to fight. Let's take a break. I'm gonna open up the phones and go to the message board. You got 3 hours, and let's use it wisely. Let those that listen into this show know how we feel on the ground. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they started at Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would have been together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in the South.
It's time for a new course, a new coalition, a new leadership. Somebody got to rise above race, rise above sex. A new leadership, a choice, a chance. Don't pride by what you don't have, use what you got. Everybody in town was scared of Goliath. We got more and more folk and fewer services. We cannot stop. We got to rise on higher. Little David. Little David. Little David. Took off his unnecessary garments. Little David. Didn't want to get weighted down with a lot of foolishness. Little David. Took what God gave him, a slingshot and a God biscuit, a rock.
Some people report the news, others interpret it, but there are those who transform it into truth. Ari Melba has redefined journalism with intellect, creativity, and courage. He blends culture and current events, politics and poetry, truth and transparency. And in doing so, he reminds us that storytelling is a sacred work. Ari understands that our narratives shape our nation, and he has used his platform to highlight issues that matter to the people, not just to the powerful. Tonight we honor him for bridging art and activism, for using his voice to educate, inspire, and empower. Join me, please, in celebrating Ari Melba, recipient of the President's Award of Historic Transformative Leadership.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing? First of all, Babyface is 67 years old. We might need a fact check on that. What an honor to be up here with Rev and everyone else. When Rev started out, they said, he's just doing this to get on TV. Now he has a TV show. He kept along and they said, well, he's just setting himself up to run for office, be a politician. Now he has the politicians coming here to be accountable to you. We're celebrating his 71st birthday, God bless. I don't think he's planning to run for office in his late 70s or 80s, although people do that nowadays. I don't know if you've heard. So as far as I can tell, maybe he was doing it for the people. Maybe he was doing it for voting rights and human rights and being an advocate for people in communities where when bad things do happen, they don't have a local advocate or a federal advocate, or suddenly it doesn't feel like they have anyone who cares about what's happening to them. So it's funny, in the middle you can't always prove the case, but by this stage in his illustrious contributions to the United States, he's doing it for everyone. So shout out to Rev. I'm really honored to get this award. My grandmother was a refugee. My father's an immigrant. Like a lot of other people that I get to interact with, I'm very aware that my worst days are better than some of their best days. And so I keep that in mind, and I know Rev does and a lot of other people do. This award was called Leadership in the Arts. I'm honored by it. I love the arts. I won't say whether I've ascended to being a leader in the arts, but I will share with you the leaders I learned from. I learned civil rights from Sam Cooke. I learned about colonialism from Bob Marley. I learned about activism from Gil Scott-Heron. He said the revolution will not be televised. We're working on that. Reb and I are working on that. I learned about the media from KRS-One. I learned about politics from Public Enemy. I learned about police brutality from Tupac and about feminism from Lauryn Hill. So when I was growing up, I did okay in school, but I was quickly learning as a teenager there was all of these parts that weren't in the official story, but they were true. So yes, we try to reflect some of that in our reporting. In times like this right now in America, art and free speech are under attack. It's not just the historians, bless them. It's not just the normal newspaper reporters, bless them. It's also the comedians, from Kimmel to D.L. Hughley. It's also the artists. We've seen the crackdowns on people who sing or share their thoughts through other forms of expression. And so, in a moment like this, as we've seen in, unfortunately, other countries around the world, it feels like just telling the truth becomes a radical act. That's a bad sign for the health of your democracy. But the truth can help redeem our democracy. So I'll end with a bar. Is that all right? Should we do one bar? From New York's own Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Hove. He's talking about people that might not be truthful with you, that might not keep it a buck. And he said, they're all actors, looking at themselves in the mirror backwards. Can't even face themselves, don't fear no rappers. They're all weirdos, De Niro's in practice. So don't believe everything your earlobe captures. It's mostly backwards. Unless it happens to be as accurate as me. And everything said in song you happen to see. Then actually believe half. of what you see. None of what you hear, even if it's not.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
You're live, sir.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Or go to our message board. Gerald Tarantine says, Kamala told us, Rev, what he was going to do, and he is doing it. She is definitely there. You are right. Kamala warned it, and we didn't listen. Also on the message board, Maureen Mo Forte says, afternoon from National Action Network Chicago, shared a conversation with Spike Lee Sunday at St. Sabrina Church. Father Flager discussed Nan and discussed my uncle Fred Shuttlesworth and Birmingham Sunday. Happy heavenly birthday today to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Fred Shuttlesworth was the leader of the Birmingham movement. It's Maureen's relative. Maureen, a great activist and actress. And I'm sure she will be at the National Action Network Convention, bringing a delegation, as she always does. It's in her DNA, in her blood, fighting for civil and human rights. And an heir to Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, one of the real heroes of the civil rights movement. Let me say by way of announcements, don't forget, you in Philadelphia, I will be at the Monumental Baptist Church tonight at 7 o'clock, 4948 Locust Street in Philly. Reverend Jesse Mapson is the pastor. We're having a community awareness rally, NAN. I'll be the speaker, 7 o'clock. Make sure you're there. All of our NAN chapters, many of our clergy leaders, activist leaders, and elected officials will be there in the house tonight at Monumental in Philadelphia, and I want to see my WURD family there. Then tomorrow, I will be kicking off the National Action Network's Ascend HBCU tour. The Alphas are partnering with us, and I'll be giving the convocation address at Lincoln University at 11 o'clock tomorrow. And the whole tour will be the National Action Network's going through many HBCUs over the next 2 months, the Ascend tour. And I have staff going out. We're doing about 2 a week. I'll be doing about 4 on the tour. I'll be announcing them every day. Make sure you in the Philly area meet me tonight, and we kick it off at Lincoln University tomorrow at their convocation. I'm the main speaker there tomorrow. You that are in the New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut area, meet me at the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice Saturday morning, 9 to 11. It's King Weekend. What they don't discuss about Dr. King, I'm going to speak on that Saturday. Real Dr. King, I come out that movement raised by his lieutenants. I'm going to break it down on Saturday. And then on Monday is our annual 2 cities that we do every year. National Action Network's Washington, D.C. breakfast, where we give awards to those that has kept their part of the King Dream alive. We're honoring former Attorney General Eric Holder. We're honoring Sheila Johnson. Black woman owns more hotels, building more business than any black woman of note. Co-founder of BET with her former husband, Bob Johnson. We're honoring the mayor of Baltimore, Maryland, who's done a great job that data shows bringing down gun violence and crime in Baltimore, where he is mayor. We're honoring Donna Brazile, the political strategist. All of them will be there with us Monday morning, 8 o'clock at the Salamander Hotel. Then flying right back to New York, where 1 o'clock sharp, Don't wait to one to get there. Get a seat early at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th and Lenox. And it will be our policy day forum, Martin Luther King Day, where we have elected officials speak to what they have done since last King Day in 25 that is aligned with what Dr. King fought for to get. And Governor Hoke will be there, Mayor Mandani will be there, as well as Speaker to be, I believe, Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer and Tish James, State Attorney General. All of our electeds will be there to hear what they got to say. You need to be in the House on Monday, which is the King holiday. Tomorrow's the actual birthday. That's why we're kicking off the tour tomorrow at Lincoln on Dr. King's actual birthday. But the holiday will be at both the Breakfast in Washington of NAN and then our Public Policy Forum at 1 o'clock in Harlem. And the reason I always, and NAN is 35 years old this year, we've always had a policy forum because Dr. King was about changing laws and policy. One of the things we've tried to do is operate in that tradition. We've changed racial profiling laws in states when we got started, stop and frisk policies in New York, forced consent decrees by local police departments, help to mobilize people around cases where, like the George Floyd case, ended up with indictments and policemen going to jail, as well as fighting for corporate accountability, as we did with the buyout with Costco and going to this year deal with boycotts and going to stockholders meetings. So make sure you hear our statements on Monday and our message on Saturday. And then all roads lead to the National Convention, National Action Network. I'm announcing it earlier. It's April 8th through the 11th in New York at the Sheraton, New York, Times Square. It's free. And I'm going to be posting in the next 10 days all the workshops and who's leading them. But we have the top minds. We have many of our leading public officials. And we have those activists from around the country and our chapters. Register now so you can be assured you can get in the workshop of your choice. We go by the list because we have thousands that come from all over the world. Sir Simon Woolley called me from London. They bring a delegation from England every year and other places. So make sure you do that. And don't forget, Saturday and Sunday, I'll be live on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now. MS Now. Among my guests this weekend will be Martin Luther King III and Andrea Waters King, who co-chairs our breakfast, and many of our elected officials. All these announcements, make sure you keep in mind. Let's take a break and go right to the phones. Keeping it real, 1-877-532-5797. Be right back.
Keeping it real.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS.
We have a short visit today. So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We were with Gold. Yeah. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the
Yeah.
plantation.
Wow.
And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses. Good to see you again, sir. It's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine.
Right. Last time. And we,
Alexander Shaw. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have the slavery.
Yeah, that's when, exactly. That was, exactly.
I just found out the two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. Wow. South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James and Jesse.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came to me in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and helped me push the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told me, you know that my great grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you gotta listen to me. But
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hoe in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this about our friend Barack announced it today. I wish Obama had announced here, because Lincoln did not free us. The abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited to turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you, and if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host. Until Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Let me tell you something. One of the things that is most striking to me is that when you end up where we are now, there was the expression I used to hear quoted often that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, that's what we're looking at. With the right wing in charge of the Supreme Court, the majority in the Senate, the majority in the House of Representatives, and the majority having control of the White House, the concept of three branches of government, so you have balance of power, is tilted all one way. And with absolute power, they used to just treat black people a certain way, then just people of color a certain way. Now they are just violating whites. And Minnesota is an example, but it's also all over the country with these tariffs. They're starving white farmers, red state people, because absolute power is not satisfied. It has an insatiable appetite to consume everybody, and many of it just to show their power. And that's where we are now, where you can just say that a white woman gets shot and killed at point blank range, and not only are you going to call her a terrorist, she didn't have a gun, a weapon, nothing, but you call her a terrorist. I'm talking about the President of the United States and the head of Homeland Security, Noam. Call the woman they killed, their ICE agent killed, a terrorist, and then call on the Justice Department to investigate her partner, to try and dig up something on her that is so wrong, has such a stench of being dictatorial that 6 members of the Department of Justice quit rather than do it, and 6 down in Minneapolis quit. That's the state of affairs where we are. But if we don't rise up and do something about it, it's only going to not only continue, it's going to be worse. That's why you ought to be involved in groups like NAN and others that have passed the test of time. I'm not talking about groups that are episodal. When something happens, an episode happens, they're there. But we've been here for decades and have a record of changing things, and we're going to be on the forefront of changing this. That's why you should be at our convention, April 8th through the 11th. That's why you in Philly ought to meet me tonight at the rally and education engagement at Monumental Baptist Church there on Locust. You need to get involved. It is not enough. Let me tell you a little secret you may not know. When you're sitting watching the television or watching your social media outlet, you that watch Instagram or TikTok, you shaking your head talking about how bad it is, changes nothing. You've got to be involved with groups, so it's a lot of us moving together to change this. How do you know that, Sharpton? Because that's what changed things in the first place. How did we get a Voting Rights Act? People marched, people stuck together and pushed till we got it. How did we get a Civil Rights Act? Same thing. How did we get voter protection? How did we elect someone like Barack Obama and reelect him? Everybody got involved. You have friends and relatives that sit back talking about how bad times is. You ought to challenge them and say, okay, what are you a part of making things right? Just sitting around, mumbling to yourself, or annoying others about how bad things are doesn't change anything. And, all right, let's go to the phones. Let me take your calls. I want to do a lot of callers today, as well as a lot of people on our message board. Gerald Tarantine is saying, Rev, what about LeBron James coming out with Nike shoes in remembrance of Dr. King? Interesting. I'll ask Martin III about that on Politics Nation this weekend. His son and namesake. All right, let's start in Philadelphia. I'm on my way there. Let's start, Brother Jacob in Philadelphia, WURD. Brother Jacob.
Peace be unto you, Reverend Sharpton, and your worldwide listening audience. Man, I just found out about your schedule here. Soon as I get off the phone, I'm going to try to change what I got to do to get on over there.
I'd love to see you tonight. I'd love to see you.
Your Monumental Baptist Church, 49th and Locust. Okay.
49.
I'm going to get on that. But
49, 48 Locust. I'll be there 7 o'clock.
God willing, and the creek don't rise. But you know, Reverend, now my question is it still America first with this president? Because look at what you just explained, what he did to an American citizen.
Right.
That has no record or anything. And then he's going to protect the protesters in Iran. Does that make any sense to you?
Iran, he is telling people in Iran what to do. He's taking Venezuela. And this man ran on America first. You're absolutely right.
But look, you know, coming out of Philly International Records, you know, Kenny Gamble, Leon Huff, they said they put a message in the music,
right?
And they wanted you to understand while you dance. Right now, I traveled and played with Harold Melvin in the Blue Notes when Teddy was with him, and we had a tune. If you don't know me by now, you would never ever know me. Right?
I love that
now,
song.
If people in America can't see what Trump and his cabinet is about at this point, then I say what Flavor Flav said: "You blind, baby, you're blind to the facts, and ain't nothing I could say gonna help you." But you know what they did there in Minneapolis? They trying to put the fear to protest, our First Amendment right to peacefully protest. You know, and this is all around the country. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led our civil rights struggle, and he did it peacefully, and he did it with intelligence leading, not emotion. And I just say to America, beware when we have our marches, beware the provocateurs whose job it is to turn it into a riot.
That's right.
They did that, I think, when Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was in Memphis, right before he was martyred, right? They had people busting windows and stuff like that to make it, you know, unlike he would want it, because it was supposed to be peaceful. And, you know, back then, imagine this, Reverend Sharpton, men had to have signs on telling America, I'm a man.
Right.
After what, 400 years of what we went through? And me and you can look back at that time in our lifetime and see, and they still can't see that we're a man. Are you kidding me? You know, we got to get this. Look, I don't know. It makes me dizzy to just know that America has come to, I know we're not that backwards and just foolish. Okay. So I guess we going, like you said, just talking about it ain't gonna get it. We got to make our presence felt like we're supposed to, and ain't no stopping us now. Now I'll leave it with that.
Make fighting and right
I hope. I hope to see you tonight. I'm gonna get on the phone as soon as I hang up and try to cancel what I had planned.
Well, if you get
so
there,
that I can
brother,
get myself over
if you get there, brother Jacob, let my folk know you're there so I can shake your hand. I'd love to see you, and I love
Well,
every
I
time.
definitely want to shake your hand.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I love you. Always
Thank
bring
you.
us back to Philly International, the Enlightened Brothers, Gamble and Huff, Tom Bell. I grew up on that, and Teddy Pendergrass. Wake up, everybody! No more sleeping in bed. Great songs, message songs. We need to bring them back. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Keep it real.
I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their home, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you would do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
King, Dr. Richardson, most of all, let me thank Reverend Al Sharpton for bringing us all here together today. In the Urban Action Network, I am proud to be a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America. But I am mindful that I wouldn't be here if it had not been for Reverend Al Sharpton running for president, and Carol Mosley Brown running for president, and Jesse Jackson running for president, and Shirley Chisholm running for president. They paved the way, and I stand on their shoulders.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
I celebrate the day you were born. You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
For over 3 decades, the National Action Network has stood on the front lines for our communities, fighting for justice, lifting up the voiceless, and showing up where it matters most. Presidents, world leaders, and global changemakers have all testified to Reverend Al Sharpton's impact and National Action Network legacy of good trouble in the fight for equality. This holiday season, our commitment grows even stronger. We're expanding food distributions, toy drives, and direct support for families who need us now more than ever. Stop right now and join the movement.
Reverend Al Sharpton joined the growing chorus of voices demanding accountability in Jordan Neely's death, drawing attention to two other men who appeared to have played a role in restraining his
In London, yeah. We've got many problems here. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come. Guys! What's up, Doc?
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church
keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go to Will in Cleveland, Ohio on our phone line. Will, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Okay, hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay. Before I get started, I got one thing. I was listening to the radio, and they were saying that Trump was in Detroit. I don't think it was Ford Motor or something.
Yeah.
And Hector called him a pedophile protector.
Right.
And Ford, I think, gave the guy some time off without pay. And they said that somebody started a GoFundMe for the guy, and he's up to $400,000.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear that. I know that I saw the guy heckled him, referred to the pedophile protector, and Trump gave him the finger. So now the guy went to GoFundMe and raised $400,000. That's an interesting way to respond to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe I need to go to one of them rallies and give him a piece of my mind.
You ain't lying. He may have a line of people now doing that.
Yeah, so that was just a quick thing. But I was wondering, when Obama was in office, President Obama, they used to always ask Michelle different things, just harass her about him. So I'm wondering, why does Melania get a free ride? She was in the picture. Now he's at Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton.
Right.
About Epstein. Melania was in those pictures. What I would ask, like, for some reporters to ask her, what does she know about what was going on?
And will she go in front of Congress?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Pull her out the picture, out the way. Why does she get a free ride? Trump is below respect. They say giving people time off for talking to him the way he talks. You know what I mean? So hey, I would like to see what she knows about it. You know what I mean? But nobody ever asked her anything. She hides with the big hat and all this stuff. What's she hiding from?
Wow. Great point.
Question I had, because they always jump on Michelle. Want to know what she thinks about what Obama's doing. Ask her what she thinks about what Trump's doing. Put a microphone in her face.
I love it. Thank you for your call. Good points. Let's go to Disco Brian. Let's go to Brian in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD. Brian?
Rev.
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Rev.
Hi.
Lindsay and I cannot wait to see you tonight at the Monumental Baptist Church.
Oh, great. I'm going to look
Philly.
for you. I'll be there.
I'm gonna be wearing, I don't know what yet, but probably something Princey, as you know. I wanted to pick up right where Pam from Chicago left off yesterday, because she always speaks so eloquently, and she's so right to demand communities with historic memory of fascism and terror show up loudly right now. I really was depressed by the silence that was deafening at the Golden Globes. Nobody spoke out. Did you happen to catch any of that, Rev? Or
I
have you
saw
heard
some
criticism of
clips. I know they wore a button about good, but I didn't hear any of the winners that took the stage articulate anything by name and address it forthrightly. If they did, I didn't see it.
Really a failure. I think Ari Melber, I think it was him, that compared Meryl Streep in 2017 on that stage denouncing the authoritarian takeover and comparing it to the silence that we saw. I just think people with millions of dollars and protection should be using their platforms to speak out in defense of people with no protection in Minneapolis and across the country, risking everything to denounce this takeover of our democracy and overthrowing. But Rev, I also wanted to honor the record because when any of us talk about the Jewish community and civil rights, as you know, there's a long history of Jewish leadership standing with Black freedom struggles. And please understand that the racists in my family and from where I came from, Florida and Georgia, have always been as anti-Semitic as they've been anti-Black. And they only started being Islamophobes after 9/11. But I remember vividly hatred for Black and Jewish people as a much deeper sentiment that I hope both Black and Jewish communities realize together in this moment. Because you got, as you know, Rev, you got the history. You got Abel Meeropol, the Jewish American immigrant who wrote Strange Fruit, the lynching protest song that Billie Holiday performed at personal risk, which galvanized the civil rights movement. You've got Rabbi Abe Herschel marching beside Dr. King and Selma. You got Jewish performer Bob Dylan opening for Mahalia at the March on Washington before she sang and pushed Dr. King to tell him about the dream. And of course, you've got Goodman and Schwerner, Jewish civil rights workers murdered in Philadelphia, Mississippi with James Chaney in 1964, killed by the Klan because they were fighting for Black voting rights. And here's the part that makes it today, Rev. Just this week, Beth Israel Congregation in Jackson, Mississippi, bombed in 1967 by the Klan, hit again by a monster arsonist. And that's what hatred looks like, anti-Black and anti-Semitic at the same time, from the same poisonous roots. And if I could, Rev, I would encourage you and everybody listening to watch a brilliant sermon called Defying Orders from the Stephen Wise Free Synagogue in the Upper West Side on YouTube, on their YouTube page, uploaded a couple days ago. Rabbi Dalia Samansky ruminates on the Nuremberg trials and says, quote, Judaism is clear. We are not to acquiesce to illegal and immoral commands, even at the risk of our own lives. So all this righteous Jewish activism and advocacy for civil rights is reflected in cultural leadership from Spielberg and Streisand to Natalie Portman and Seth Rogen, all of whom are Jewish and as openly pro-Black and anti-MAGA as they are anti-Netanyahu. And Rev, it was on March 14th, 2024, that the most powerful Jewish politician in America, who does identify as a Zionist, Chuck Schumer, gave a speech on the Senate floor denouncing Netanyahu's disgraceful fascist regime and demanding Israeli elections. So my prayer, Rev, and I know you've got this wonderful Dr. King ceremony where you're going to have Schumer and Mamdani together at the House of Justice, and I've suggested this before. I would be, and I think you're the only one that could do it, if you could facilitate a much-needed dialogue between leaders like Mamdani and Schumer about the very terms Zionism and jihad, given the elasticity of those terms, Rev, because, their concepts, Zionism and jihad, they're as elastic as Christianity itself, entirely dependent on who is claiming that identity. Because Rev, J.D. Vance claims to honor your faith, but obviously is failing. So, Pam, I hear you. We need more people, more institutions, and more courage across every ethnicity and faith. But when we say, where are the Jews, we also have to say, many have been here, are still here, and we need everyone here together right now because the fascist playbook doesn't discriminate. And I thank you for taking my call, and I can't wait to see you tonight, Rev. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, and I think you expressed some feelings. I was thinking as you were speaking, and some callers just speak right to your heart of what it is you're thinking about. I appreciate your call. I really do. Let me go to Ira in Washington D.C. Ira.
Yeah, good evening right now. Thanks for taking my call. I've been waiting for about 5 days, but I'm getting it in real quick. I got a 5-minute interval. What it is also, I just want to have a comment on something I read about a young lady saying about ICE. It's like a slave patrol, not a Gestapo. It makes a big difference. I can't go into detail because I don't pull up the article. And the second one is a lot of AI-generated stuff by the 47 loyalists is out there saying that this young lady should have been home. She wouldn't have got killed. These are some AI generated craziness from Trump, a loyalist, and I don't like that. And my third thing before I get to my real point is Jimmy Kimmel been tearing Trump's backside all the way up, fully, completely, and I like that. And so I just say, my last thing that I'm gonna go. This is really important. They want to get into Venezuela. This is what I read. They want to go into Venezuela because these billionaires, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Sam Altman are trying to build something allegedly in Greenland. That's the reason why they're trying to take so much of this Greenland, not for the oil, just to go in there and build an oasis for them and rich people in general. And so I didn't like that. So, and my last thing is, an article I saw says you must understand that your food is chemically engineered to keep you addicted and sick. Trump is a puppet to the elite, and just in every other puppet, it's just as every other puppet. And it says, they try to manipulate the weather using something called AARP, which is holistic something. I don't know what it is, what it means. I haven't researched it, and also they said that the only group dividing the population, media, and political stuff. I know I hear the music. I had to call back tomorrow and get the rest. Okay, brother?
All right. Thank you for your call. Let's take a break. 1-877-532-5797 and message page on the message board. Walter Coleman is writing, everyone in the Republican Party are not like Trump. Everyone is talking about Trump, how bad he is, but it's not about Trump. I don't like his character and how he talks at times. And he was answered by, I'm trying to see if we can pull that up, saying I am holding my Democratic card proudly. I think that you must operate on what you believe, no matter what party you're in. And if you're in a party, you ought to be trying to make that party stand up for what's right. Happiness Donut says, I'm proud to carry my Democrat card. All right, let's take a break. Be right back.
Keeping it real. Breaking news.
Every step I take, you will be there. Every step I make, be together. Every step I take, you will be there. Every step I make, be together. Every step I take.
Whew. Thank you so much. I was thinking I was going to prepare a speech, but I can't read those things anymore. Name's Babyface, not Baby Body. But I wanted to, you made me sound so good with those words. I was like, that was me? I was like, when I look at my life and I think of the music and everything that I've done, I used to say that I don't know where it came from. I don't know where the words come from. I don't know where the music comes from. I don't know how I got here where I am, but that's not true. God got me here. This is and it becomes more clear to me every day that's why I'm here. And I don't even know how I ended up standing here, except for the fact that I ran into Al at the Essence. He was walking in the room, and I said, I got to go say hello. And he said, I want to honor you. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, I want to honor you. I said, really? Yep. And here I am standing here, and I can well, thank you. I always want to do this, Michael. I love you too. Sorry. But I think of moments like this, I can't help but just think of how proud my mom would be for me to standing here. I have to say that just to be standing here and to be invited by Al Sharpton, and I want you guys to really think about this man who invited me here and how he has been fighting the fight for us all of these years. I don't think we give him enough credit. I don't think we give him enough love. Sometimes you just get used to people and you think, well, that's just Al. No. He's more than that. I want y'all to give him really love. Come on, let's give him. It's very true. Because I can remember times, I'm 67 years old, I can remember times in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah, it's true, I'm 67. And I can remember times in Indianapolis when I was growing up, and there were places before I was 5 years old that I could not go to because I was black. And I remember how civil rights, how that changed everything for me and for my life, and that I'm standing here today because of all of those changes, and I was able to do the kind of music that I do and do everything because of those things happened. And so for me to accept an award like this, because I've never gotten an award like this before, and so I really appreciate it, and I'm just so thankful, and I thank my mom for giving me the sense to always be humble with my life and to never think that it's all about me. And so like I said, I didn't prepare a speech. I always just wanted to speak from my heart. And I'm speaking from my heart, and I want to tell you once again, Al Sharpton, you are a blessing to us all, and I thank you for inviting me for this, and thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me, and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of the stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor, who stayed right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let me remind all of my friends in Philadelphia, I'm on the way. 7 o'clock tonight is the rally at the Monumental Baptist Church, 4948 Locust Street in Philadelphia. I'm coming all the way from New York, so you can sure come from wherever you are in the Philly area and be there 7 o'clock tonight. Our awareness rally, and we are kicking off tomorrow at Lincoln University, the National Action Network tour, HBCU tour. We're going to about 14 HBCUs. I'm going to do 4 or 5 of them myself. but we're starting tomorrow where I will be the keynote speaker at the Lincoln University's convocation. And that is tomorrow at 11 o'clock at Lincoln. And, of course, that's at 1570 Baltimore Pike at Lincoln University, Pennsylvania. And I am absolutely looking forward to it. The actual speech I'll do is at 1570 Baltimore Pike there at Lincoln. And then, of course, I'll be right back to New York where we will be tomorrow night. I'll be speaking at Riverside Church along with others around Dr. King's actual birthday, Riverside Church, an iconic institution. And then Saturday is the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th and Lenox. And I'll be giving my statement there. My speech there will be about what they don't talk about with Dr. King, what they don't talk about with Dr. King. And we're going to have the new schools chancellor there as well on Saturday. And then on Monday, Dr. King Holiday is our National Action Network. This is our 35th year as an organization. And every year on King Day, we do two things. We start with a breakfast in the nation's capital, giving awards to those that have kept the King dream alive in their own way. Martin Luther King III co-chairs that with me, along with his wife, Andrea Waters King, who heads the Drum Major Institute. Dr. King's incorporated that himself. They co-chair with me. And we're honoring this year former Attorney General Eric Holder, who will be there. We're honoring the one and only Sheila Johnson, who owns a hotel, Salamander Hotel, where we're doing it. And she owns more hotels than any black woman in the country. She's co-founder of BET Network with her former husband, Bob Johnson. We're honoring the mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott, who has shown what a mayor can do to bring crime and gun violence down to record low levels. And we're honoring Donna Brazil, the political strategist. All of them will be there. And then we come right back to New York that late morning. And 1 o'clock, we're at the House of Justice for our annual Martin Luther King Day Public Policy Forum at the House of Justice, 145th and Lenox. And we ask all the elected officials in New York and vicinity to come and give us a quick report, but a detailed report on what they're doing in the spirit of Dr. King. And the governors have confirmed she'll be there. Kathy Hochul, the mayor, Zoran Mandani will be there. The Hakeem Jeffries of the who'll be the Speaker of the House if the vote comes out, he'll be there. Tish James, the State Attorney General, Senator Gillibrand will be there, Senator Schumer, many others, in order to make sure. God stopped me in the street, said, Reverend Al, I want to make sure I get a seat. Call now, put your name on the list, because when we fill up, and we usually have hundreds come, when we fill up, I believe I know we will be going by the list to make sure people get in. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And I see on the message board, Rodney Jones, the mayor, is asking, is it open to the public, Riverside Church, and what time? It's at 5:30, and it's open to the public, Mayor Jones. Now, let me also give you a real early start. National Action Network's National Convention celebrating our 35th year will be April the 8th through the 11th at the Sharpton in New York. It's all of our sessions are free. We've already booked some names that you will want to be in the room to hear their workshops, ask your questions, have our luncheons, our banquets, celebrating our 35 years and hearing from people that I'm already happy have confirmed. I'll be releasing the names and workshops probably about 10 days to 12 days from now, but already hundreds have signed up because we determine what size ballrooms to have for what sessions based on our sign-in sheet, and we have those people registered and come in first. So go now to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and say, I'm coming to the convention. The theme of the convention is we must straighten out tricks in 26. Straighten out tricks in 26. That's what the theme of this year is in our 35th birthday, our 35th anniversary. And you can also register by calling at 1-877 626 4651, 1-877 626 4651. All right, let's go back to the phones.
Let's go and take a break. Let's take a break.
Let's take the break, and we'll come right back to the phones. I won't have to break up someone's thoughts. Let's take the phone calls right after this break.
It's been a long time coming, but I know
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network for always in the month he was killed to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this. The only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again. Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We're going to organize our house, house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Black Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com, The Rev Al, or let us go to also the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net. Let's go to Fred in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fred. Is Fred there?
Hey, how are you doing, Ralph?
I'm good. Hey. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Hey, I just wanted 4 points, and then I'll let you go. On the first, just an update. 3 of the officers involved with George Floyd, they are out. They're on parole and under supervision. Derek Chauvin is the only one that's still locked up. The second thing, like most people have talked about, when you look at Venezuela.
Chauvin, by the way, is the one that had the knee on the neck. I think they all should
Correct.
still be there, but Chauvin is still in jail.
Right.
He's the one that had the knee on the
Correct.
neck. Right.
Right, yeah, he's still locked up. Regarding the oil, Venezuela is number 1 in the world as far as oil reserve. Iran is number 3. And when it comes to Greenland, they suspect there's a lot of oil there, but Greenland stopped in roughly about 2021 trying to, retrieve this oil because of concern to the environment, and also it's hard to get. So with all this stuff, you got to remember a while back, Trump was criticizing electric vehicles. So a lot of this is about oil because, yeah, he doesn't care about the Iranian people. He's just looking, where these major oil companies can get in there and get the oil. And that's, one of the things where I have a question in my mind, that he consult with Exxon and all these other companies before he invaded Venezuela. And
Well,
then
I'm not going to cut you off. You can go to your last point, but just on that point, it has been said and confirmed by the White House that he had told the oil companies just before they went into Venezuela, so they were aware. And as he publicly did, he met with the heads of oil companies after. So it's clear that your point is correct. This was about oil. He told the oil companies before he even alerted Congress. He never told Congress before he went in and got Maduro.
Right. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up, and just something for people to think about, where this, surge of, ICE being everywhere. Now, remember, Texas and Florida, and there may have been some other states. Remember, they had busloads of people that they sent to, Democrat-controlled states, or they had sanctuary cities, but yet, okay, he claims all immigrants they're criminals and everything. So he sent these to these cities and states. So, in my mind, like, these cities and states ever think about suing these other states for endangering their public? They're supposed to be criminals, and then put them on record to say, well, no, those weren't criminals. But also, like I said, my background is law enforcement. It makes me think, because I'm like, how does ICE know where all these people are? Because they identified them, shipped them to some of these cities. So now that they create this crisis, this may sound like a conspiracy theory. Now they're going to get them. Okay, we sent them here, we sent them there. Okay, now that they've been there for a while, now time has lapsed. Let's send ICE in there to go get these people we sent to all these cities. Because it's just, I spent time looking for people for burglaries and robberies, and it's hard to find. Okay, all of a sudden you just, you can group up all these people, and you don't have that many informants that are telling you all this information. So it's just something to think about, that last thing. And then my last thing, my youngest child goes to Morgan State. Are you guys going to Morgan State?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I'll be announcing every week which campuses they're going to and which ones I'll be at. But yes, they're going to do 14.
And one more thing I have to ask you. Have you ever think about maybe once a week, because I know you're busy and you're everywhere. Have you ever thought about either like some of your co-hosts doing like maybe once a week a late show for people that get off after 5 p.m. to call in, where they can talk and discuss, but just to keep it going a little bit longer? I know there's a cost with everything, but it's just a thought where, your daughter, the reverends that are your co-hosts, the attorney, where once a week maybe they have time to do a 2-hour show or something and take callers that
That's a good suggestion. That's a good suggestion. Let me explore the cost of that and see if we can negotiate that with all of our station affiliates because we're on in different stations around the country and Sirius and on our live stream. So let me see. I will get with our team and see. I think that's a good idea because by us doing 3 hours in the middle of the day, everybody can't not only tune in, they can't call in. So if we could do one later in the day, and I could do one maybe a couple of times a week and the others with the calls, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. And these times we need to use the airwaves as much as we can. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for your
Or even if
suggestion.
it's a live podcast or something. All right.
All right.
All right. Take care, man.
All right, thank you. Good call. Let's go to Anthony in New Jersey. Anthony, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Is Anthony there?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. You hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah, I was calling in because I wanted to speak about the situation going on with ICE, right?
Right.
And I was listening to you a couple weeks ago, and you were saying you was about to hold a rally to go down there and protest. And as a black man, I want to know, what does that serve for us by you going down there and you see how these protesters are turning out? It's like Dr. King said, it's like walking our people into a burning building, because technically this don't have anything to do with us.
Why doesn't it have anything to do with us?
Because we're not immigrants.
And the people that are protesting are not immigrants. A lot of the people that are being grabbed are not immigrants. Some of them are black in Minneapolis. They're black activists on the ground that worked with us and continue to work when we were going after George Floyd. And we had many whites that marched with us for George Floyd. They didn't say it had nothing to do with us.
Yeah, but that's totally different. We are homegrown, so anything that happens to something homegrown,
No, you're not listening.
it affects.
You're not listening. There are most of the people marching and protesting, including the black activists there in Minneapolis, are homegrown because they're being snatched. People homegrown are being snatched and being brutalized. So that is not true that these are only immigrants they're snatching. The woman they killed was homegrown.
She killed herself.
How did she kill herself?
Because first of all, you went out there antagonizing them.
Oh, so wait. So you're telling me to say that you're protesting ICE is antagonizing and the sentence should be death. So if you disagreed with a law enforcement officer, they got the right to take a gun and put 2 bullets in your head. Do you believe that?
No, I believe that they have a certain way of training. And if you go out there...
I didn't ask you about their training. I don't know that you know about their training. I asked you a simple question. If you went out and said that you disagreed with a policeman and you were at a gathering and he was antagonized because you say, I disagree with the policy, he has the right to put 2 bullets in your head, according to what you're saying. Is that right?
Nah, you asking me a question that's totally contrary to what actually happened.
Oh, what happened there? Tell me what happened.
From what the video shows, they told her to get out the car. She didn't get out the car. She tried to pull off, and one of the officers is right there and about to strike him with her vehicle.
No, then you are watching a false video. The video that everybody has seen, she was pulling off. He was not. She was not pulling into a cop, and the cop that shot her was on the other side of the car and shot through the window. That's not what the video shows. But even if she was pulling off and she wasn't pulling into a policeman, are you saying that they had the right to then put 2 bullets in her head and they would have the right to do that to you?
Yeah, if he felt threatened.
How do you feel threatened if you're pulling away from somebody? She was pulling away from the cop that shot her. What are you talking about?
No, I don't think she pulled right into. From what I seen,
you couldn't have seen that, sir. I don't contradict callers. You did not see that because that was in no video released. If that was in video released, they'd be saying that. Nobody's saying that.
No, they're gonna hold a narrative that benefits the media. They not gonna hold.
No. They showed the video. We're not talking about a narrative now. They showed the video. She's not pulling into anybody.
It's about how you depict the video. So how I depict the video.
It's not how you depict it. It's how the video shows. You can't redo what is on the video. The video shows she was in a car. She said, "I'm not mad at you, sir." Got in a car, was getting ready to pull off. They snatched the door, and he shot her. She was not pulling into him. In fact, he filmed it himself. His video doesn't even say what you're saying.
I'm going by what the mass media is putting out.
Now you didn't see the video. You didn't go by the mass media. You going by some right wing liars. I'll put it that way. The video is public. You can go right now online, pull the video up, call me back, show me step by step where she's pulling into an ICE agent. Come on, that's not true. They're not even saying that. It's not true. We can have disagree. Let me tell you something. We can have different opinions. We can't have different facts. Let's not make this up. That don't help you. That don't help me. And you don't want to set a circumstance that they can do that to you. There are plenty of us get mad at police. They don't give them a right to put 2 bullets in our head. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Keeping it real.
Some people report the news, others interpret it, but there are those who transform it into truth. Ari Melba has redefined journalism with intellect, creativity, and courage. He blends culture and current events, politics and poetry, truth and transparency. And in doing so, he reminds us that storytelling is a sacred work. Ari understands that our narratives shape our nation, and he has used his platform to highlight issues that matter to the people, not just to the powerful. Tonight, we honor him for bridging art and activism, for using his voice to educate, inspire, and empower. Join me, please, in celebrating Ari Melba, recipient of the President's Award of Historic Transformative Leadership.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing? First of all, Babyface is 67 years old. We might need a fact check on that. What an honor to be up here with Rev and everyone else. When Rev started out, they said, he's just doing this to get on TV. Now he has a TV show. He kept along and they said, well, he's just setting himself up to run for office, be a politician. Now he has the politicians coming here to be accountable to you. We're celebrating his 71st birthday, God bless. I don't think he's planning to run for office in his late 70s or 80s, although people do that nowadays. I don't know if you've heard. So as far as I can tell, maybe he was doing it for the people. Maybe he was doing it for voting rights and human rights and being an advocate for people in communities where when bad things do happen, they don't have a local advocate or a federal advocate. Or suddenly it doesn't feel like they have anyone who cares about what's happening to them. So it's funny, in the middle you can't always prove the case, but by this stage in his illustrious contributions to the United States, he's doing it for everyone. So shout out to Rev. I'm really honored to get this award. My grandmother was a refugee. My father's an immigrant. Like a lot of other people that I get to interact with, I'm very aware that my worst days are better than some of their best days. And so I keep that in mind, and I know Rev does and a lot of other people do. This award was called Leadership in the Arts. I'm honored by it. I love the arts. I won't say whether I've ascended to being a leader in the arts, but I will share with you the leaders I learned from. I learned civil rights from Sam Cooke. I learned about colonialism from Bob Marley. I learned about activism from Gil Scott-Heron. He said the revolution will not be televised. We're working on that. Reb and I are working on that. I learned about the media from KRS-One. I learned about politics from Public Enemy. I learned about police brutality from Tupac and about feminism from Lauryn Hill. So when I was growing up, I did okay in school, but I was quickly learning as a teenager there was all of these parts that weren't in the official story, but they were true. So yes, we try to reflect some of that in our reporting. In times like this right now in America, art and free speech are under attack. It's not just the historians, bless them, it's not just the normal newspaper reporters, bless them, it's also the comedians, from Kimmel to D.L. Hughley. It's also the artists. We've seen the crackdowns on people who sing or share their thoughts through other forms of expression. And so, in a moment like this, as we've seen in, unfortunately, other countries around the world, it feels like just telling the truth becomes a radical act. That's a bad sign for the health of your democracy. But the truth can help redeem our democracy. So I'll end with a bar. Is that all right? Should we do one bar? From New York's own Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Hove. He's talking about people that might not be truthful with you, that might not keep it a buck. And he said, they're all actors, looking at themselves in the mirror backwards. Can't even face themselves, don't fear no rappers. They're all weirdos, De Niro's in practice. So don't believe everything your earlobe captures. It's mostly backwards. Unless it happens to be as accurate as me. And everything said in song you happen to see. Then actually believe half of what you see. None of what you hear, even if it's spat by me. So we will keep spitting facts with the humble confidence of Sean Carter on our best day. And you can keep making up your own mind, because we gonna be all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Our theme this year is we gonna straighten out tricks in 26. Straighten out tricks in 26. All the tricks is over. Changing the voting line. Straighten out tricks in 26. Selling us product but don't give us our diversity, equity, and engagement and inclusion. Straighten out tricks in 26. The tricks is over. It's fighting time. It's stand-up time. It's correcting time. Thing past hope. Because, I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare. And my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said, you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilliard is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money, no future. And we built black churches and black colleges and black fraternities. We had faith. Faith made us stand up to the most powerful nation in the world and turn it around. Faith means we went from the back of the bus to the front of the White House. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed us yet.
Rev. You know, you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that
Yep.
was going on in Brooklyn at
Yep.
that time, at
Yep.
Howard Beach. You
Yep.
were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene with yourself,
Yep.
Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question.
Yep.
What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair.
Yeah, you had the head on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut. So we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK. I thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misused them and listened to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head.
Al Sharpton.
Keep people at a distance. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or go to the message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and put a message in, and we will read as many of them as we can. I'm glad that last caller called saying that that somehow the Renee Good caused her own death, because one of the reasons that we fought and was able to get under the Obama administration, having the taping on on where you had the screens on the lapels. I'm looking for the right word that they make policemen now put on their body cameras. That's what I'm looking for. Is because that really brought down a lot of brutality and led to some prosecution of bad cops. And I don't think all cops are bad, but those that do bad deeds should be punished. Crime is a crime whether you have on blue uniforms or blue suits or blue jeans. Crime is a crime. And the fact that this was not a body camera, I think the ICE agents ought to be made, and FBI agents ought to be made to also have body cameras, and we need to fight for that as well. The videos here are explicit, and I've not even heard some of the Republicans deny that there's nothing in the videos that show that this young lady, Renee Good, was trying to run over a policeman. She was going to move the car. Then the car moved after she was shot. How you say she was the reason he shot her is just fantasy. But if we didn't have the videos, that's why the body cameras were so important with policing, it would be his word against hers. Now, the irony of this is that he himself had the gun in one hand and was filming with his smartphone in the other hand. And it is clear, she said to him, I'm not mad at you, dude. And next thing we know is some kind of quick action, and she shot. But we are so, in many ways, I don't want to use a derogatory term, but it's true. We are so conned by a lot of right-wing fantasies that they will tell you you're seeing something that's not there until it happens to your loved one or you. Most of the cases that I have involved myself in, most of the cases National Action Network and other organizations have been involved in, were people that never believed it is happening until it happened to them. Very few cases that I was involved in, people were activists or even members of organizations before it happened to them. And every case I ever fought, they said it didn't happen that way, including George Floyd. A young lady videotaped, a young girl, videotaped this cop with his knee on George Floyd's neck. Had she not videotaped that, that policeman, Chauvin, would be in the streets today. Had we not had movements, marches, and protests, you want to know what that's about? There would not be body cameras mandated on policemen. And I'm sure Donald Trump, before he's finished, he has 3 more years, is going to try to get rid of that. James in Atlanta, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Al, for taking my call, man. Bless you. That gentleman almost made me forget what I was about to say, man. Man, I've never, but it all changed when you put him in the scenario and said if it was you. And he couldn't open his mouth because the whole, back to what I was trying to say. Donald Trump pardoned all those guys from January the 6th, correct?
Correct.
And when he pardoned them, they're trying to figure out where a lot of these guys are at and why they're working. And it's been reported, and it's going to come out shortly. A lot of the people that are working with ICE, brethren, they ain't been trained. Some are even was convicted on January the 6th. And they're being hired. That's why they strictly covering their faces at all times. But what they don't understand under the state, it don't matter. If they can keep track and know where you getting your check from, and they can picture you out on that video, they can come back and charge you state. Federally, maybe they can get away with it. And that's why they hired them as a federal entity and not a state.
Right.
But when you're committing state crimes, you will be held responsible. And Trump might get away with what he's doing. Well, he ain't going to get away with it in the end. But he knows that anytime a man tells you, I know I'm going to hell, I know I'm not getting into heaven, the average person will say, well, let me try to get myself corrected.
That's true.
Let me try to do what I can do better when I meet with a pope. This man left from meeting and talking to the pope, I know I'm going to hell. So he's doing just what the devil do, and that is showing his behind. And the way he's conducting himself, it is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in my face. You thumb and thickens your finger up at people. Because as a president, you don't even entertain that. You're the president of the United States. But you got time to point your finger and stick your finger up at people and give them the F you. And you're supposed to be a president. And people are supposed to take you serious. But it's all about to hit the head. Because as long as they were killing black folk and white folk, brown folks, everybody was laughing. It was like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. But now that they are taking this stuff out on people that look like them, a white woman, do you understand what they would do to you if they doing this to a female? To be that low down and to hold a camera and shoot this lady the way he did, Ms. Renee, it was literally utterly sick. Because he was standing off to the side of us and he shot that lady. And for him to stay as poised as he was, he didn't even flinch, Reverend. He stuck the gun straight to the window and shot the child 2 more times. And then walked behind her and called her B word.
That's right.
And we sitting here playing with these people like it's a game. And I know, and I remember what I was going to say before the gentleman made me almost forget what I was about to say. They're in Minnesota for a reason. It's starting out as the Hispanic around Minnesota, but you better watch one thing that they're going to try to do. They're going to trigger over into the Somalia community. You watch what I tell you, and it's going to happen shortly. And they're going to have an incident And they're going to be waiting for something about it to break out and say, oh, let's start a big fight or whatever, because you're going to have to fight in the end. But it's going to trigger over in that Somalia community. And they just testing the ground. I promise you, it's going to trickle over into that community, because he can't stand when black people stand up and tell him to his face what he is, like the young lady did. And nobody don't need to step down from Trump. If you got something to say about him, he's saying about you, speak your mind.
That's right.
At some point, you got to not be a wussy all your life. And some of the people that are getting up here talking that's on TV, you stand up, Reverend. But there's some brothers I see, they keep bowing down and going along with whatever. Man, you got to tell a cat that's trying to. Trump is using street tactics on political people, and they don't even know what's hitting them. He's using straight street tactics on these people.
That's
they don't
who
have
he
a
is.
clue of what's going on.
That's who he is. I know him from New York. That's exactly who he is. Thank you for your call. And let me say this. The way, and I think I mentioned this morning on our Morning Joe. One of the things that compel me to keep fighting is every time I hear one of these situations, and of late been able to see it on video because of body cameras, I think about if that was my daughter, I'd want somebody to stand up. And even to the caller that called, if your daughter, and I don't know if he has any children, but if you have a daughter and she was driving and got into an exchange with a policeman for any reason, might not have been she was at a place monitoring what ICE was doing or whatever, but got into a back and forth with a policeman, do you think he has the right to shoot her in the head twice through an open window when he was settled enough, non-threatened enough, that he was filming it with his own phone? You shouldn't wish that on anybody's daughter. Just think about what happens to yours. So when I get a call or someone gives me a memo from our crisis department in Nan, and they say this happened to this person, that person, and the evidence so far is this, I think about if that's with my child, I would want to go. And I don't care how many TV shows I get, radio shows, I go or have staff on the ground going, because I identify that if it happens to anybody, it can happen to everybody. Let's go to Sly in Detroit, Michigan. Sly.
Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'll say everything is everything. After listening to the caller before the break.
Wait a minute. I'm going to have to take a break, and I want you to take your time and explain your response. Let's take this break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton. Keeping it real. Be right back.
One, two, three, I got the feeling. Hey, baby, baby, I got the feeling. How I got that feeling, yeah. Hey, hey, got that feeling, y'all. Come on. Feeling, baby. Oh, I got the feeling, y'all. Can you put your hands together? I got the feeling. Oh, won't you say, baby, baby, I got that. Baby, oh, feeling, baby. Oh, hey, hey, baby, 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 baby. Come on, sing it out, baby, baby. Come on. Can't hear you. Hey, hey. I got that. Thank you so much. My name is True Osborne. Humbled and honored.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hoe in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, you know, all of this about our friend Barack announcing today, I wish Obama had announced here, because Lincoln did not free us. The abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, sellout or racial hustling I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the war that I remember so well that
Reverend Al Sharpton,
him to jail.
please go right back to Sly in Detroit. Sly.
Hello?
Yeah. I hear you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. The previous caller that was given the misinformation about that shooting. I remember back when I was in the police academy, because I've been in law enforcement for a long time now. There was once a saying that the world is made of two people, those who are the police and those who call the police.
Yeah.
And after listening to that previous caller, I see which side he's on. First and foremost, I want to start by saying if the United States Department of Justice certifies ICE agents to be law enforcement after only 47 days of training, shame on them, because they're not getting proper and adequate training. Something that doesn't get talked about much, and probably because people not being in law enforcement, there's something called the use of force continuum. Okay, and that has to be abided by law enforcement and citizens with a concealed pistol license. And the U.S. military also has a version of that. Okay. Also, per the United States Department of Justice, you cannot shoot, law enforcement officers cannot shoot at a moving vehicle unless the person in the vehicle poses a threat, an imminent threat, beyond the vehicle itself. Okay. There are also two cases that people can look up. One is Graham versus Connor. Another one is Tennessee versus Garner, Garner. Okay. And for those that felt that the officer was justified, or he was caught up in his little tissue paper feelings because of what might have been said to him. You also, while in the academy, you recite something called the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics. And within that code of ethics, you state, I will maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, and ridicule.
That's in the training.
That's in that's the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics.
Okay.
You can look this up. Okay. And also, the hypocrisy of it all, because the United States Department of Justice will send in federal monitors and put law enforcement agencies under consent decrees.
Right, that's true.
Due to complaints of excessive use of force. Okay. Detroit, for instance, was under 2 for 13 years. Okay. And, evidently there has to be some oversight when it comes to these lettered agencies within the federal government. Okay, because this can't continue. You get caught up in your feelings. You don't like what somebody says, and you shoot them in the face. That's ridiculous.
And you had law enforcement training.
Exactly. Okay, the average police academy lasts 6 months, or 6 months, some a little more. But 47 days, you don't learn. You don't get the proper training in the use of force, when to shoot, defensive tactics, and things like that. Yes, I've been in law enforcement for a very long time.
No, I appreciate your call, and I think that is important because I've never heard anything other than, and we fought in double policing for the last 40 years, that the training as it's been upgraded, and certainly in the last decade or so, that you are trained how not to overreact. And you are particularly trained when you're not under a threat, and even then you're supposed to remain calm. But to try and act like because somebody said, I ain't mad at you, dude, and was in their car, and you pull the door open and start shooting is in any way within regulations is unfathomable to me.
Exactly. I totally agree, because I'll use Detroit police for an example. That is lifelong learning. As long as you are in that department, you continuously train. Okay, they have what's known as in-service training.
Right.
Okay, so you hear people that would criticize the fact that it was 6 months of training, but you will never ever fully learn law enforcement, because there are legal updates and things like that. Okay, and it also keeps you sharp. It keeps you on your toes to have the continuous training. Okay, it also can help to reduce or relieve some of the hostilities that you have, because you're constantly learning, and they're constantly drilling into you what to do, what not to do, and the repercussions if you do. Okay, so I guess that makes the difference between a law enforcement officer and a wannabe, because that's what it seems like. These so-called ICE agents, they're just wannabe. they're renegades. You know, you're out here shooting without being in harm's way. As a matter of fact, in the training, you are trained not to position yourself in the front of a vehicle.
Right. That's against any training.
Exactly. Okay, and you're not going to put yourself in front of a vehicle to stop it from moving. Good luck with that, because usually you may end up on the wrong side of that.
Right.
So.
Well, and see, the other thing is, not only do you see from the video he was not in front of her, how would he have got to her window side and shot her twice if he was in front of the vehicle? I mean, let's talk to each other like we got good sense. Where he shot her from, he couldn't have been in front of the vehicle.
Exactly. And there have been instances where law enforcement officers have gotten written up by their supervisors if they're saying getting out of the car on their phones.
Right.
Okay, when you're out there and when you're out there and you're in a tactical situation, the last thing you need in your hand is a phone.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So now this was definitely a bad shooting, and I'll leave it there because I may take up too much of your time.
Well, I appreciate the call and the clarity. I really do. Let's get ready to take our break, and we'll take more of your calls and read on the message board. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. All right, that's it. You got it? I thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misuse them and listen to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you, and if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. Hi, it's Reverend Al Sharpton, President and founder of National Action Network. We are at the very end of 2025, and I want to first say that I want to thank all of the officers, chapter leaders, regional directors, national staff, and certainly National Board of National Action Network for a solid and absolutely incredible year in 2025. Despite the fact that we are under assault, voting rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the battles globally where we're seeing Nigeria and Venezuela attacked, and on and on and on. We have been steadfast as an activist organization in the tradition of Dr. King. We started the year with a national call that thousands responded to, and we were in Washington on our side of town while Trump was being inaugurated on the other side of town. And we made a pledge. We told people to lift their hand and make the pledge. And we kept that pledge to work all year to keep the dream alive. And that led into when Trump went after DEI. We supported some that were boycotting, and we started boycotting, something that had never happened. We said we're going to go buy from those that have committed to keep DEI. And went in several cities around Costco's and Sharpton. We've now bought stock in other companies. We're going to shareholder meeting and demand they continue DEI. We've had a sensational national action at a convention covering the span of activity, from political empowerment to education, to how we deal with the black church, how we deal with black women development that has to deal with both discrimination based on gender and race. And of course, we came to Wall Street by the thousands and marched in late summer on the anniversary of the March on Washington. And people thought you could not get people out, and they came from all over the country. And we marched on Wall Street and had an enormous turnout. The only mass black march, black-led march this year. We had a lot of protests, a lot of marches. I salute all No Kings marches and all. But the black organization march, it welcomed everybody. We had white, black, everybody there. Was our march on Wall Street in August. And then our Triumph Award and on into our fall agenda of organizing, mobilizing. We've expanded. We've started chapters in about 12 new cities. So I am proud of what we've done this year, but it's only the beginning, because our very rights are under attack, and they're not even being quiet about it. They want to revoke the Voting Rights Act. Section 2 may fall with this. They want to end the Civil Rights Act of 64. That's what the end of DEI is about. So let us be more alert and active than ever. History will decide whether the civil rights gains of the 50s and 60s died in the 2020s. That's on your watch and mine. So if we've got to march, we have to protest, we have to lobby, and we have to rally, whatever we need to do, we need to put our shoulder to the wheel more than ever. I'm going to lay out a plan on King Day, both in Harlem at our annual event and in Washington at our annual Martin Luther King Day breakfast that we do in D.C. We do 2 cities that day. And then, of course, all roads lead to New York to pay for our convention. We had, as I said, the largest attendance convention last year. In 2025, it needs to be more this year because our very existence is at stake. We also are closing our negotiations on a new headquarters, our national headquarters that befit our mission. I'm so excited about it, but I can't give you details. We're just about ready to sign the contract.
You don't want to miss Martin Luther King weekend. You don't want to miss Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I have a host of heavy-hitter guests to deal with Martin Luther King's dream, how it applies and how it's being violated today. Martin Luther King III and Andrea Waters King will be with me one of the nights. We will have leading members of the Senate and the House, as well as those in Minnesota. We'll be dealing with that. We'll be dealing with the whole question of Venezuela, world peace, with some of Dr. King's methodology. And we will be dealing with certain cultural issues, how it has shifted since his assassination. Don't miss Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, Saturday and Sunday. And then you that are in Philadelphia, I am tonight at 7 o'clock in Philadelphia, leaving. I'm going to MS Now, do Nicole Wallace's show, and then I will be in Philadelphia at 7 o'clock at the Monumental Baptist Church on Locust. Meet me there in West Philly at Monumental, 7 o'clock tonight. Then tomorrow I'll be the convocation speaker at Lincoln University there in Pennsylvania, kicking off National Action Networks and Alpha's tour, HBCU tour, to enlighten and empower our students. And of course, we're right back to New York. Saturday is the Saturday Action Rally. I'll be speaking on what they don't talk about when they discuss Dr. King. And I will have the schools chancellor, new appointed New York City schools chancellor, will be there talking about education. Meet us at the House of Justice in Harlem, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. And then, of course, Monday is the MLK, Martin Luther King holiday. There are those that want to make it the last holiday. And of course, then we're flying right to New York for our annual Martin Luther King Day Public Policy Forum. We ask each of our top elected officials to come and give a report on what they have done in the last year since the last King Day, in line, aligned, and in line with Dr. King's teachings. And we have everybody from Governor Hochul of New York to Mayor Mandani of New York City to the State Attorney General Tish James, Hakeem Jeffries, leader of the Democratic caucus in the House, Chuck Schumer, head of the Democratic caucus in the Senate, the Senator Gillibrand, and many of our members of Congress all will come and speak at our policy forum. To get a seat, call, or go online. You go online to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. We're also taking early registration to National Action Network's 2026 convention. It's our 35th year, and we'll be our convention theme and our 35th year theme is straightening out tricks in 2026. And I'll be releasing the schedule in 2 weeks, but you can call and reserve now. The dates April 8th through the 11th at the Sheraton. All the sessions are free, but we encourage people to register because as we get crowded out, as we did last year, we go by the list. So sign up now, and if you can do it 1 day or 2 days or all 4 days, say that, and we'll work along with you. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Ricardo in Brooklyn, New York. Ricardo.
Yes, how you doing, bro? In reference to
I'm
that,
good.
in reference to that Minnesota shooting,
Yeah.
the young lady, she was wrong, and the ISIS was wrong as well. First and foremost, she shouldn't be out there in the way of law enforcement where they trying to do their duties. And
Where was she stopping them from doing their duties?
she was blocking the ISIS with their calls. And
How did they block them with their cars?
yeah, as the video speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does. That she wasn't blocking anyway. If she was blocking them with their cars, she couldn't have pulled out. The video shows them pulling up and coming over to her. So how was she blocking them?
I said on Instagram, I saw a national TV of the media, and it showed that the officers.
There's only one video. She got in her car, and they pulled up to her. The cop got out of the car and walked over to her. So how could she have been blocking them?
My point of view, the facts.
No, you can't have a point of view and start from a wrong basis, Ricardo. You said something that is patently false. She was not blocking anybody.
Okay, so what we gonna do to change the ISIS from coming in the neighborhoods, Mr. Rev?
I think that what we got to do is we've got to change the laws that they abide by and discipline ICE. You cannot have ICE just randomly decide that they want to just do whatever they want to people, particularly shoot an unarmed woman in a car in the head. Even if I went by the false scenario that she was blocking them, that don't give them the right to execute her. They give them the right to arrest her if she was blocking them. You didn't hear them say, you're under arrest, we'll arrest you if you don't stop blocking, because she wasn't blocking them. He shot and killed her.
Rev, this is the people voted for, to get Donald Trump in the office, to round up the migrants and send them back to their country.
She wasn't a migrant. She was not a migrant. She's a white woman from Minnesota. So when you say round up the migrants, how do you explain an innocent, unarmed American citizen getting shot in the head twice?
Well, she was part of the protest for the migrants, which the migrants don't care nothing about us anyway. And we're doing all these fighting for the migrants.
So what? Whether somebody cares about me or not, that gives you the right to kill me?
Now, we all know, that you're stupid.
Oh,
for the Democrats.
All right,
we know you're stupid for the Democrats.
All right, fine.
And you say
and when you have a problem, Ricardo, call National Action Network. We'll help you out because we're stupid enough to do that. It's always interesting to me. Thank you for your call. It's interesting to me when they run out of arguments, they got to go into name calling because they can't argue the debate. Now, just if we take the logic, I'm glad we got a couple callers adverse today, because if you go by his logic, he's saying because she was protesting for migrants, he was right to kill them. I mean, think about that. So I guess when we're out there protesting against policing, that's wrong. George Floyd, that they got the right to shoot us. I mean, think about what you're saying. And they say it like it makes sense. And unless we have shows like this where you confront them, you probably, and I probably won't be able to change the mind of the caller. But people that are on the borderline listening to this will say, wait a minute, that doesn't even make sense. People can pull up on their iPads and look at the video. She wasn't blocking anybody. But even if she was, as Sly said, the law enforcement guy, let's say she wasn't. You come over and say, miss, you're blocking us. We're going to have to arrest you if you don't move I'm giving you warning. You they got a gun in one hand and your smartphone in the other hand and film yourself arguing with her or saying whatever you're saying and then shoot her. I mean, we're talking about a killing. We're not talking about an arrest. We're not saying whether he shouldn't have arrested her. He killed her. And for Donald Trump to have people so out of their own thinking that they're forgetting that a human life, mother of children, was killed. Whether you agree with her protest, whether you agree with her surveilling the ICE people or not, that has nothing at all remotely to do with justifying taking her life. There are people out there, I live in New York when I'm not on the road. People out every day protesting. I may not agree with their protest, but I ain't got the right to tell a cop shoot them. And this is where our society has come to where people are twisting themselves, trying to justify the killing of an unarmed woman, white woman. This ain't not even racial. And because usually say, oh, Sharpton just care about black people. I'm speaking up for a woman that's not black, and I've spoken up for whites before. I want you to think about these two callers and how far down we are going in our morals in this country when we justify something like this. All right, I hear the music. I have to go. Headed to Philly. Meet me at Monumental Baptist Church tonight, you in Philadelphia. Let me thank all of you that called in, you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Talk to you tomorrow.